We will be starting the show momentarily. It will be about 30 seconds. What is up, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of Roughing the Passer. As always, my name is the DH, and I'm with my main man, Mr. Newman. How's it going, bud?
Good. Both our teams won this week. That's a good start.
Yes, they did. Hold on, I'm stepping away for one moment, but yes, they did.
Yeah, crazy week in football. Everyone out there, a lot of, I don't want to call them upsets, but
Yeah,
a lot of surprise games. I went 1-3 in my pick, so I guess I was surprised by the 3 games I got wrong, including my lot.
Well, that's really good right now. As long as this game holds up, even though, of course, New England's cut it to 7. But Baltimore, if they can hold on, very strong or decent week for me. It looks like I might be able to gain some ground on that because you've got me right now there, my friend.
Yeah, here's a crazy stat from the day. If Baltimore wins this game, every home team won this week.
What up, Chris? And hey, guys, just to let everybody that is a crazy ass stat, John. That's nuts.
I'm actually wondering if can that be the first time that's ever happened?
I doubt it, but it's gotta be quite rare. But real quick, guys, just to let you know before we dive on into the schedule, this is our first time streaming as the had a couple since Jude went to bed. Streaming the show on The Longest Yard, one of the best football groups around. So welcome everybody that's joining us from The Longest Yard. Thanks for tuning in. And if you are watching on the watch party over there, I know Jimmy Gonzalez, go Vikings, you say. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. I got a little bit to say about them. But if you join the actual StreamYard feed over on our page, the Roughing the Passer page, your comments can pop up like Chris, who's giving me an awesome shout out right there. What's up, Chris? But anyway, and there you go, Blake. How's it going? But anyway, guys, so we're going to dive right into the schedule as we always do because we got quite a bit going on. But before we do, actually, going back to here right now, if you guys would like to call in to the show, now, I mean audio, it can just be a phone call in like on the radio or anything. If you want to do on your video, you can do it on your iPhone, everything like iPhone, Android, whatever it is. All you have to do is click the link that I just posted as a comment in the group. There it is right there. Click that link, follow the instructions. You will pop up into our feed and I'll allow you on unless it's, someone like Chris Drake, who, you're not getting on, bud, but you know why. No, I'm just kidding. But so we welcome you guys to join the show of anything we talk about, as we got a lot of stuff going on today. As we've said that, John, let's go into the schedule, and why don't you talk about some of these first couple games for us?
Well, Thursday night, we saw the 49ers hold off the Cardinals by a field goal. A little closer
Great Thursday game. great.
A little closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo actually had a really good game. One of his better, probably his best game of the year. It's funny, he played his best game of the year, and they barely hung on. So, that's the NFL for you. But they remain undefeated, and Garoppolo's going to quarterback like that. And one of our questions later, that they might be the answer to it.
Yeah.
And so today, in the I gotta laugh because at one point the Bears they lost 22-14 to the Eagles. Not a pretty game by any stretch of imagination.
No.
At one point in the first half, the Bears had 9 total yards, and it wasn't early in the first half. And the miseries continue. The Bears lose their 4th straight. And Bears fans are getting restless at this point.
Well, we're going to be talking about Mitch quite a bit here in just a little while. But as far as that game goes, Eagles winning that game, one thing that I took from that game was Jordan Howard, one of my sleeper picks on DFS today. If you took him and he was part of your lineup, he was very, very low. At least in every league I was in, he was very not owned that much at all. And, it's nice to see Philly getting a running game from even some backups. Howard looked great. I thought, like we were saying, or like I was saying the other day, I think the Eagles are really starting to turn a corner now. And, this was the first sign of that. I know Chicago has a very good defense. Putting up 22 against them is no joke. I was impressed with the Eagles today.
Yeah, they got to keep pace in that division. I think things are slowly coming together for them. And, I won't put them in that top tier yet, but like I said, if they can figure some of the running game issues out, if Wentz can get on the same page with his receivers and maybe even clear the air there's speculation that there's a little dissension in the ranks. But if they can, fix that, sure, they got the weapons, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, absolutely, 100%.
So my Steelers, not pretty, not pretty.
No.
I had to. We have to thank a 86-year-old Adam Vinatieri for shanking a 43-yard field goal, pretty much in the final minute, to secure the win for us. Like I said, not pretty. I will talk a little bit about certain players here in this game, but the Steelers are back to 500. Not, as most Steeler fans will attest, that's ultimately not where you want to be. But when you start out as bad as we did, it's funny how 500 sounds good right about now. So we'll take it. They hold off the Colts 26-24 at home. No Ty Hilton. Jacoby Brissett gets hurt early in this game. So, like I said, we have reasons we won this game. I'm not giving them back. And a win's a win. You get out of there and you put the W in the left-hand side of the column.
No, absolutely. Like you said, wasn't necessarily the prettiest game around, but was a good game. I thought overall, you guys got the win. I was happy for you and everything. Like you said, we've got a couple of games that we're going to be talking about from that here shortly. But let's run through these games real quick because I want to get to talking about quite a few different things. So you got the Texans over the Jaguars 26-3. Watson putting up a hell of a performance. Minshew, not so much, which that's something else we'll be discussing shortly. And then in another game, a crazy game, one that really blew my mind how close it was. And the final score, really, Chiefs 26, Vikings 23. Fun game. Matt Moore coming in. I guess if I'm going by everybody that was when Cam got hurt, everything I heard since Cam was injured, which that we'll be talking about a lot later. Should we start talking about Matt Moore taking over Pat Mahomes' job? I mean, apparently, if a backup has 2 good weeks, it's time to talk about replacing that starter. Mahomes has an MVP. Cam had an MVP. No Super Bowls. I mean, is it time?
I can't even answer that, but I like it. I like it. No, not yet.
No,
sure.
Of course not. Of course not. It's the dumbest thing in the world, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, moving on now. Let's see, where are we at here? We've got Bills over the Redskins, dominating the Redskins. Not too much of a shock there, 24-9. Buffalo, one of those teams, quite interesting. I'm curious to see what happens with them going on in the near future.
Yeah, their defense is legit, and Devin Singletary had a pretty nice day, and looks like they're really a real big time receiver or two away from being threats to the team playing tonight in the Patriots in that division.
Yep.
So they're in the zip code, but they're not quite there yet. But that defense, one of the better ones in the league.
Absolutely, it is. So let's see, where are we at now, John? Let's see, Lions and Raiders. Raiders squeaking out another win, 31-24. Finally starting to get something together there in Oakland, it looks like. And the total opposite for Patricia in Detroit. And then you've got the surprise game of the week to me, I think, by far, is the Chargers. They beat the shit out of the Packers. I mean, just destroyed them.
Yeah, this was a home game for Green Bay too. I read the 75% of the fans in that stadium were Packer fans, and I really, San Diego or the Chargers have to be really second guessing their decision to leave San Diego, because in all their home games, if you will, there's more fans from the opposing team, and they're going to have to really look at that and figure out, that atmosphere long term is not going to be a recipe for success. But they overcame that 75% of those Packer fans cheering for Aaron Rodgers and pulled off what I consider definitely an upset. I think Green Bay was the favorite, and Aaron Rodgers did not perform very well. I actually watched this game.
No, okay. You actually got a chance to watch it, so that's awesome. I did not get a chance to. So, by the way, guys, I just posted over in the NFL Longest Yard group the StreamYard link. Like I said, guys, call in and talk. We're going to get into the nitty gritty here in just a little bit. But let's finish running down through this list here. So, Dolphins finally getting that win over the Jets, 26-16, in the battle of heavyweights in this world, which we'll talk about in a little while. And my Panthers coming back from a beautiful performance last week. I mean, oh my goodness, such a good preseason game last week. But came in looking great today, winning 30-20. Score looked a lot closer than it was. Kyle Allen looked amazing. I was very impressed how good he did after a loss, because when you get shit whipped around the field like he did, 8 sacks, multiple turnovers, just absolutely nothing, just destroyed, and you don't have your confidence really built by any means, it's always interesting to me to see how are you going to come back from that. What's your next game going to be like, especially when you're a backup thrown into all this? So to see him come out today and do what he did, incredibly impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, that's always, like you said, you always, especially with a younger player, you want to see how they respond, especially when you got, the starter, if you will. Kind of the talk is, can he keep the job? What's the long-term plan with the organization. Those guys hear it. I know they say they just show up to play every week and practice every day, but truth be told, they hear that stuff. They read that stuff. They can say what they want, but they hear those echoes, and came out today and silenced those echoes, and higher scoring game than I thought, to tell you the truth. And Christian McCaffrey, another Christian McCaffrey day. It's getting to be the norm, and as the MVP chants start to get louder.
Oh, and rightfully so. The kid, he's a video game. I mean, obviously, I watched that game. The kid's an absolute video game, and the things he did today were just it's Christian McCaffrey. I mean, I was scared when he was looking up at the scoreboard on that last touchdown run and then had to go to the tunnel, because if he hadn't looked up and just trusted his speed, he might not have almost given himself a concussion. But luckily, he is okay. But let's finish running down this schedule real quick. And guys, like I said, comment in on anything you'd like to hear us talk about today while we are on the air. But so rest of the games that went on today, currently, obviously, Ravens and Pats going into halftime, 17-13. You had the Seahawks in a crazy hard-fought game. I'm really glad I took a lot of them in DFS. It worked out perfect. But pulling out a win 40-34. And then the final game, probably the second most shocking game, kind of. We'll talk about that because we kind of disagree on a couple of things. But one of the least, or maybe most, in your opinion, shockingly games. But the Broncos win 24-19 over the Browns. So, I mean, John, I guess we're going to start right here. The Browns. Yes, Jimmy, we are. It is it's 17-13 going into the half. So what we're looking at right here. But I mean, John, I guess we got to start going with the Browns. What's going on, and is this the real Browns team?
Well, this was my lock of the week. So I thought this was, as I said in our preview show a few days back, I thought this was the game Baker gets back on track and silences some of those critics. And not so fast, my friend, as Lee Corso would say, And so there's problems in Cleveland. It's official, in case people were like self were still thinking there was time for them to right the ship, or they got some issues there. I think it starts with the head coach. There's a lot of people saying Freddie Kitchens not experienced enough to coach at the NFL level as a head coach. Coordinator's a different animal, and it's starting to really look like that. And you got a lot of egos in that locker room with the Landrys and the OBJs and Mayfield himself. So
absolutely.
And I think the game plan should be kind of the ride Nick Chubb a little bit more. He's a solid, really good NFL back, and then that'll open up the passing game. But Kitchens has his own ideas in mind, and obviously those aren't working. So I think they're actually behind my Steelers now by actually a couple games, and with the Steelers, the way to start they got off of, that just tells you how bad Cleveland is right now. And when you got those egos in the locker room, this usually doesn't bode well, because the guys like that are going to complain. There's going to be, mark my words,
exactly.
You're going to get the anonymous sources say this, and anonymous sources says Baker doesn't practice hard. He's more interested in his commercials, and so there's problems in Cleveland, and this was a team before the year, and I'll throw myself under this bus. I picked them on my preview show, on my show, to win this division. I thought while Mayfield might not have the year he had last year,
that had to really really, really hurt as a Steelers fan.
It did. If you listen, if you heard me, I said, "Man, I got to be honest, but this stinks," and I was wrong, thankfully. But unfortunately, Baltimore is playing as well as I thought Cleveland might. So,
yeah.
So there's problems there. I think they're going to have to replace their coach, a first year guy. The question is, when does that happen? Do they wait too long, or do they pull the trigger early and just scrap this year and say, well, let's get the next guy in here as early as we can, so next year is a better year? And a lot of decisions have to be made in that front office. And there's even a rumor, Drew, I don't know if you heard it, that the Browns were shopping OBJ before the trade deadline.
Yeah, I saw that. I personally, and Jordan, I'm going to get to your question in just a moment from over at the Longest Yard, but I think that's one of those things where you throw it out there to see what you get, because you never know. If these new young GMs, they throw draft picks around, and sometimes they'll throw 5 first-round draft picks at you if they think you're worth it. I could see them maybe kind of throwing it out there. I don't think it happened. What I actually think happened is I think some people that, how you were just talking about, stories start getting leaked, shit starts getting stirred up. I think this was more some agents and possibly some people in different camps leaking stuff to start that crap that's already going on. Because let's face it, you've got 2 incredibly hard. You've got a lot of hard-headed people on that team right there, and OBJ is not going to stand for a lot of losing. And so I think putting that out there, it just stirs up that controversy that you want. But real quick, guys, and once again, what you see at the bottom right there is how you can call in. It can be just on your phone, audio or video. You can join in on video, ask us any question, or tell us why we're stupid. Anything you'd like to do. But Jordan, let's see. Jordan Wilder from over at Longest Yard. John, he asks, do you think the Seahawks can go to the playoffs?
Well, I think they can get to the playoffs. I think probably the bigger question is, how long do they extend their playoffs? Their defense, the Legion of Boom, doesn't exist anymore. So they are a real. To me, they're a rebuilding defense. You saw the game they kind of had to play today, a shootout type football. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're going to play shootout type football, having Russell Wilson is a plus. But I don't think
having Russell Wilson this year, I mean, he's playing lights out, amazing.
Yeah, I don't think that really speaks to a long playoff run. That kind of football, they're going to run into some tougher D, where their D has got to match them. So I think they're a really good defensive draft, probably away. And so, can they make the playoffs this year? I think they probably. If you ask me if I think they will this year or they won't, I'm going to say they will. I just don't think they're going to be a contender to hold up a Lombardi this year. That's two different questions. I kind of answered them both.
No, 100%. And if you'd asked me a couple of weeks ago, I would have said that they were very, very big contenders to hold up that Lombardi trophy. But if you ask me now, I'm not so certain. I know they tried to make a couple of moves, do everything they can at the deadline, and I do think they're going to make the playoffs. Russell Wilson's playing too good. It would take a monumental collapse for them to miss out on the playoffs. However, just like you said, it's kind of going to depend on their matchup too. If they get matched up with a couple of different teams, they could steamroll all the way to the NFC Championship game. But the matchups would have to line up absolutely perfectly, and I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't. they score points, they score them quickly, but they're going to run into a defensive team that's going to. Yeah, don't get shit whipped. That doesn't sound like it'd be much fun. But
ask Kyle Allen.
So they'll make I think they'll make the playoffs. I'd be surprised if they didn't. And like you said, you made a great point. It depends who you wind up playing. If you get a crazy matchup in the first round, you could be done, or you could bounce off that another upset in the second with two other teams, and the matchup favors you, and the next thing you know, you're in an NFC Championship game. So
exactly.
But I don't see it. But stranger things have happened in this league. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. So, guys, the ones that you guys are tuning in, we mentioned we're going to pause right here for just a second because we did mention giveaways today, and so we've got really two giveaways. It's going to be the same one, but there's going to be the grand prize winner, which is going to win what Mr. John Newman's going to show you. And then the second place runner-up will win. Well, all right. So first place is going to win this awesome Curtis Martin Hall of Fame 8x10 autograph. Yeah, beautiful photo. You're on the camera, so you can see it. Who's it certified by?
Me, because I got it in person.
Sweet. Well, there you go.
I will. Well, I will give a COA with it. So
yeah. Well, no. You're good there. And then for the runner-up, you're gonna get a choice. You can either have an 8x10 auto of Taj Boyd, Trent Richardson, Stephon Ridley,
former Steeler,
Ryan Matthews, or if you don't want the 8x10 autograph, I don't know how many of you know me or not. As far as my show, Let Me Get That Potograph with my co-host Stu, passed away from cancer earlier this year, and we made some tribute cards for him, and there was 100 made total. But if you'd like one of the tribute cards for him, which has a beautiful message about the Lord on the back and everything, I'll try and put that in there for you guys to be able to see. You can choose that for the second place prize. So John, why don't you tell them all how they can enter and how they can get in on all this?
Well, if they want to just, what do you want? I was thinking maybe they could just type in their email. We can randomize the list. And,
how about we do this? Either follow us on the Hobby Roundup YouTube channel or the Roughing the Passer Facebook page and share this post. We'll give you guys 24 hours from when we end here. Share the post. We'll randomize them, and then the top two will get it.
Yep, that sounds like a plan.
So, like I said, guys, just make sure you're following us or on the YouTube channel, and then share or just tweet out something with the YouTube link to the show. So if you want to enter to win something awesome, that Martin 8x10 is gorgeous, dude. Really cool thing. So something a little extra for you guys this week. And I'm still waiting to see someone jump up on that screen. Somebody call in. Come on, talk some football. So let's get into some thanks, Jimmy. What up, Anthony? How's it going, buddy? So like I said, guys, if there's anything that you want to know our opinions about, let's get into it. But John, I want to talk about the Panthers game because I got a lot to say. So let's get kind of into that.
Okay.
All right. Well, no, go ahead.
Well, I didn't watch the game, but I got to ask you, it's kind of my question I ask you every week because the story seems to be evolving is now, Newton's going to be out. It looks like at least a few more weeks. And And again, we can debate, has he lost his job by being out that long and by Kyle Allen's play? I mean, how do you think this thing all settles out this week? I mean, it's one of those questions where the answer could potentially be different as each week goes by.
This week, the answer was given. This week, the answer was given, and I'm going to show it to you right now. It's the end of an era in Carolina. And it saddens me because, Cam did more for this city than most people know. But it is 110% an end of an era in Carolina. Cam's foot is a lot more. It started with the doctors messing everything up. That's what screwed everything up. The disconnect between the doctors really became an issue. And I tweeted about it the day that article came out, posted it on social media. I said, this is going to be a very, very, very big problem. And sure enough, you're seeing it now. The injury now, if they're saying that they're uncertain about it, Cam's not playing this year. He's not playing this offseason. He's not playing training camp next year. I don't know if he plays for a year. I think this is almost an Andrew Luck type of situation. Even if it's not, even if he's healthy, him not getting a chance to get on the field this year to prove to us that he's 110% healthy, Tepper has no ties to him. He's gone. Cam is gone. Now, what sucks about that also not getting on the field is he can't up his trade value whatsoever. But Cam's gone. I don't know if Kyle Allen's the answer. I thought he was amazing today. I was very impressed with how he rebounded after getting shit whipped all over the field and playing such a great game. But he's not the long-term answer. Will Greer's 2 years away if he is. But you've seen it right now with Kyle Allen. The defense is good, and the offense has more than enough weapons. You've got the MVP of the league in the backfield. And so if you can plug in a competent quarterback like a Nick Foles for a year, maybe until you get the guy you want, if it's Greer, let him sit and learn and take over when Foles inevitably gets hurt in week 8 next year. I mean, if that's the route you want to go. But just like I said, unfortunately, it is the end of an era in Carolina. And it's sad because I was a Cam supporter. I did not think that he was perfect by any means, but it's the end of an era, and it pisses me off.
So you don't think he takes another snap
no.
as quarterback?
No.
Yeah. You think he moves? You think? Well, if I'm reading between the lines, you're even saying his career might be actually over.
It very, 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 it very well could be. This foot issue, I don't know exactly what it is, but I'll tell you this. He knew about it for a long time, lied to the team doctors, lied to Tepper's team, lied to the owner. Lied to the owner that didn't draft him. Lied to the owner that was already frustrated with him. So that alone made me really start to think there's a lot of disconnect. But then just like in the tweets and stuff that I posted, go back and look at Panther articles, even positive ones. There's little hints that were dropped every now and then that we're planting seeds for this. And what it's doing is we can get rid of him for next to nothing. We end up, after dead money and everything, we have $16 million extra in cap, and that's after the dead money's taken out by getting rid of him, whether it be trade or release. Could be more. So, I mean, I can't see him stepping foot in there again. He's not Tepper's guy. And the foot issue, absolutely. It could be a long-term issue because he's had this foot issue before. He had something taken care of. It obviously messed up again against that damn New England game in the preseason. But if they still can't figure it out now, I mean, it could be one of those lingering injuries where he might play a couple more downs, but is he going to be the same? Is it worth it? And it's definitely not worth it to us to pay him. You've got to move on. You've got a team that's got a 3-4 year window with this caliber players before we got to pay too many people and break the core up. You got to go for it. And Cam, I don't think in the next 2 years is going to be healthy enough to play like an MVP like he was before he got hurt last year. So sadly, it is the end of an era in Carolina. It's going to happen. It won't happen till the offseason, but mark my words, we'll talk it on this show. It will happen.
You think he gets traded, or you think he just gets cut?
Oh, I think he gets traded. I think he gets traded. I think he goes to Tennessee or Denver.
Yeah, a lot of that probably has to do with his health. I think if he's still perceived as hurt or nicked up or not close to being ready to take the field, they'll probably have to cut him. If it's hey, he's ready to come back, Carolina just doesn't want him as a quarterback, then I think he can get traded. I think that's really kind of where it comes down to.
No, I completely agree with you. But it's going to be something very interesting to watch. But do not be surprised if right before I'd say beginning of March, April, if Cam isn't gone. But we'll see. I could be wrong, but I highly, highly, highly doubt it unless he gets miracle news that they do the surgery and he does this AP style miraculous recovery, and I just don't see it happening. But moving on to quarterbacks, you had a question on mine. Steelers, I got a question on you guys. Is Mason Rudolph the answer in Pittsburgh? What's going on there? I mean, he's leading you guys to some victories. Big Ben how long's Big Ben going to play? But what's up with Mason Rudolph? Is he the guy that needs to be playing for you guys right now since you are winning some games and you're not out of the playoff hunt?
Well, he's got to play by default. Big Ben will play 2 more years. That's what's on his contract.
What do you think he plays those? I mean, Big Ben's a selfish dude, so I mean,
I think if he doesn't get hurt, he'll finish his. I think he's going to finish his contract out. I think he wants to end on his terms, standing up. I think that's what happens. Now there are a lot of Steeler fans, Drew, that think Mason Rudolph is the heir apparent, if you will, and if any of those are listening and they want to debate me because I'm on the other side of that aisle, I think he's good stopgap for this year, but based on what I've seen so far, great guy. He's a great guy. No one can debate that. He's a good dude. He's a film room guy by all accounts. But I watch every Steeler game. I watch every snap. He holds the ball too long. He does not have great pocket awareness. He took a sack in the end zone where he actually got stripped of the ball. Luckily, Villanueva, our offensive lineman, fell on it in the end zone. It gave the Colts a safety, but that could have very easily been 4 more points and been a touchdown. And that would have changed the whole complexion of this game. Truthfully, if Villanueva don't fall on that, we probably lose today. And it's a play where most other quarterbacks throw it away or get rid of it. He did it. I don't know if you want to blame Randy Fichtner, the offensive coordinator, or him, but they're really not throwing the ball down the field. You got Juju Smith-Schuster with 3 catches for 16 yards. And thank God it's him, because Juju doesn't complain. He just goes out there and plays.
Yeah.
And when they won the game,
I love that kid. I love that kid.
But if this was AB or Mike Wallace back in the day, they would be tearing that locker room up.
Yeah.
Where they're not getting the ball. Juju's not that way, but also Juju's too good of a talent not to get the ball in his hands. And so Rudolph is not going vertical with the ball. I call him check down Charlie. If you look, his running backs had half. I think actually had more than half of the completions. And there are other games that he's played this year where the running backs caught 75% of the completions. Even today, the Colts actually in the second half kind of came out and schemed against that and shut that off.
They did.
So that's not going to work long term. And I don't know if you're asking me today if he's the heir apparent to Ben. I don't see it. I don't see enough of the pocket awareness, pocket presence, getting the ball out of there quick. He's not really an extend the play guy like a Big Ben is. I mean, Big Ben's not quick, but Big Ben's hard to take down. He'll roll out and make and extend the play a couple seconds and then throw it downfield. And he's not that guy. And he doesn't have some of those other intangibles you need if you're not that type of player. And so I don't think he's the heir apparent. I think he can get us through this year. But yeah, Jeff is right. All our teams won today. I'm not sold on Mason Rudolph being the guy who is the guy, makes us forget about having to take another quarterback in the draft. And I wish he was. I wish I wasn't saying that. I don't take any pride in that.
Right.
And I could be wrong too, and I hope I'm wrong, frankly. But what I've seen and from someone who's been involved in football and watched football, and I watch with my son today, and even my son who's a former high school quarterback just pointed out some things that I agreed with. And corrections can be made, but sometimes you are kind of your DNA is your DNA. And I think we're going to be, in the market. In other words, when Ben's contract's up, I know I'm getting long-winded here. When Ben's contract's up 2 years from almost 3 years from now, I don't think it's going to be Mason Rudolph that the keys are getting handed over to. And again, I hope I'm wrong, but that's my view on it. If there are any other Steeler fans, I know there's a few of us out there. We travel real well too. So if there's any other Steeler fans out there that disagree with me, I actually hope you're right, but you're gonna have to convince me. So I'd love to see you try.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, it looks like we may have a call in here shortly, but let's see. We'll see if we do have a call in shortly here. But let's see here. Hold on just one moment. Anyway, guys, what I was saying, we have a poll up right now, a question that I asked, and I'd love your guys' answer. And please call in the show and let us know as well. But it is, who are the real Super Bowl teams? Like, as of right now, who are teams that you think are really going to make the Super Bowl this year? Because, I mean, a lot of them to me seem like fakes. But, hey, we got us a very special guest calling in, our first listener call in, spur the moment here. We got Howes joining us. So let me pull you in here, Howes.
Jeff Halsey, that's House.
Okay, let's see if we can get him in. Add to the stream here. How's it going? How's it going,
man? Guys. Excellent stuff, really is.
Well, what's up, Jeff?
Well, John, I want to base on that. I don't think everyone's expecting him to be Ben Roethlisberger. You know what I mean?
No.
There's only one Ben. That was a big win for the Steelers today. I got to be honest with you, because I did not pick them. Right now, I'm 93 out of my picks right now, and that was one of the ones I lost on. I did not expect the Steelers to beat the Colts today.
No, that makes I hate to say it, but it's funny when I do bet on games or make picks, I actually try not to pick Steeler games. I just know them too well. Every time I pick against them, they prove me wrong, and anytime I pick them, they prove me wrong. So they're kind of my do not touch. I probably should just pick against them every week. We'd probably go 14-2 if I did that. But
John, you're one of the most loyal Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know if you know John and I's back history, but John and I coached together. With his son Jordan, who I love very much. One of my boys. I love this kid like a son. John and I have a nice long history.
Yeah.
I got to touch real quick about this Cleveland Browns crap. John, I don't remember if you watched my show at the very beginning. I said to the very, very beginning that these guys were absolute trash. And today proved it. And that's not because my Broncos beat them. The Denver Broncos started a nobody, a Brandon Allen, a nobody who hasn't taken a snap in 3 years, and he outshined that big mouth piece of garbage who continues to play at a crap rate. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why everybody labeled the Browns to win the Super Bowl this year. They don't impress me at all. And today proved it 100% for me. I don't know how you guys feel. So
yeah. To answer you, Jeff, I'm shocked at how bad Baker's playing. You know, I don't know what it is. I don't know. And I'm curious to get, your opinion, Jeff, too. I don't know if he believed his press clippings. I don't know if he doesn't work hard. He doesn't hit the film room. If he's more interested in stuff off the field and commercials.
He's already doing commercials, and he hasn't won a stinking playoff game yet. So you tell me, guys. I mean, at least both of our teams, all of our teams, even DH's Panthers team, was, by the way, proven weekly, that Chris McCaffrey kid, he's 20 times better than his father ever was. I love that McCaffrey. He was an awesome Bronco in his time. Yeah. But the Browns have done nothing, Jen. All of a sudden, they got all this talent. And you coach football. And DH, I don't know your story. I don't know if you coached. Or John, I have a long history. I did it for 28 years. Yeah. I had a ton of talent on my teams. But that doesn't win football games. You have to corral that talent. They have to be disciplined. And the Cleveland Browns are not a disciplined football team. Okay? Yeah. And they're just
all right.
They're just not,
No, I completely agree with you. I think they're showing who they truly are. And House, thanks so much for the call. We've actually got someone else calling in. So,
all right, guys, love the show.
Thanks so much.
Jeff, hey, man, don't be a stranger.
Okay, buddy. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, so Jeff calling in now, not a believer whatsoever of the Cleveland Browns, it looks like. But John, what's that?
Well, I think he's right. I mean,
yeah, I do too.
Like Bill Parcells used to say, "You are what your record says you are." They're 2-6, I don't even know. They're 2 whatever, and it's not good. I like to see, if they do replace Freddie Kitchens, I'd like to see what, if any, effect that has on Baker's career. I still think he's talented. I know that might sound crazy at this moment. I don't think you have the kind of year he had last year by accident. I think there's something going on there. Maybe his work ethic dropped off. I mean, that happens. And you can fix that if you really want to. Maybe it's some of the coaching too going on there. So I'm not out on them fully yet, but definitely not a good look. And they're definitely, I picked them to win the division, and I was not even close apparently. So
yeah. Well, something tells me we're going to be talking about them quite a bit more this year. But he's been on hold for quite a long time, so now I get to bring in. It looks like, if it's the same Blake, I think it is, a very old friend of mine. And wow, it's good to see you, Blake. How you doing, my friend?
Oh, right back at you, man. It's great to see you. It's great to be a Panthers fan today.
It is great to be it's always great to be a Panthers fan. I mean, last week we just thought it was preseason, but anyway, we won't get into that. But what's going on, man? What you calling in for? How can we help you today?
Well, just piggybacking off of what the previous guest said about the Browns, I really think this is Baker Mayfield's time to step up and be a true leader of that team, because he's got all the weapons that he needs.
Okay, well, you say that, but how long are we going to give him? How many times does he get a chance to step up? I mean, this game today, Denver, okay, decent defense, but you've got a running game that opens up your passing game tremendously. You get, pardon my language, shit whipped, basically, all over the football field. You tried to make it a game late, but let's be honest, it really wasn't. And it's been that way for a while now. And I know they're a new team. I know he's a second-year player, but I mean, let's be honest, as bad as they're playing right now, unless they turn it around this year, you're going to see more coaching turnover. So he's going to be on his 25th coordinator in 3 years. So, I mean, you can't expect him to learn a system. So how long do we give him? How many chances does he get? Like, where do you as a fan, do you say, okay, this is enough?
If I was a fan, I would say this season would be enough. Like you said, he's a second-year player. There's been enough talent that's come through there, not necessarily for players, but just for offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators to help the offense out. And if you can't get it done this year, it's time to move on.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree with you. It's interesting. I had a lot of confidence in him, John, Newman, and Blake. I had a lot of confidence in him going into the season. I know you did too, John. But I mean, John, what do you think? How long do we give him before we start to say, okay, this is the Baker that we got? Because let's be honest, Johnny Manziel didn't get this leash for other reasons, but there's a lot of quarterbacks that are not. Josh Rosen isn't getting this type of leash. And I mean, he's surrounded with nobody. So how long do we give him?
I think, there's going to be a coaching change. It looks like there. I think Cleveland needs a bona fide, like an experienced head coach that's coached in the NFL. I think you got to get him that coach. And then if it doesn't happen with a bona fide experienced NFL guy, that's when you start to really determine, do we have to pull the plug here and go in a different direction? So I think you got to give him a coaching change here at the NFL level before, and that's obviously going to be soon, either this year or the start of next year. If they don't, for some odd reason, they keep Kitchens into next year, then it's going to have to probably be next year.
Well, Blake, I completely agree. So, Blake, before we go, I want you to answer the question that we asked everybody. Who are in your opinion, who in teams that are playing right now, if you had to name two, who are two Super Bowl contenders, teams that you think are legit chances to make it to the Super Bowl?
If they can stay healthy, Kansas City.
Okay.
Just their high-powered offense is so hard to stop.
All right.
And probably the Niners, just because of the mojo they have.
Yeah, they've got it. I mean, I like both of those picks. Well, Blake, thanks for joining us, bud. Feel free to call in anytime, my man, and I'll be talking to you soon, bud.
Yes, sir. Take care, Newman. Take care as well, buddy.
Hey, good job, Blake.
Quarterback situation in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, we might need it. And I like those two picks. I like those two picks,
man. He did work.
Yeah,
I like Jalen Samuels. Did fumble though. He did fumble, but that happens to most of them. So yeah,
happens to the best of them. Well, Blake, have a good one, bud. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir.
All right, so couple guests calling in right there, and guys, come on, keep calling in. Let's have a couple more people tonight. Get up on here. The number's right there.
You're not going to be any uglier than I am, so if you're worried about that,
and just use the telephone. You don't have to click camera. Those guys just weren't scared to, but you don't have to. I mean, but call in, guys.
All right, I'm going dark.
Oh, no, Jesus, here we go. All right. Anyway, let's move on here now. I want to continue that question, though, guys. Please call in anything. If you just want to say something about your team's game, if your team got shit whipped today, then call in, vent. If you want to tell us why your team's winning the Super Bowl this year, call in, tell us why your team's winning. Do it today, and make sure, like we said, we've got probably 20, 30 minutes left in the show. Make sure you like the page, share it, especially within the next 24 hours if you want a chance at those giveaways. But, John, let's keep rolling on right along now. And I got a couple more things I want to get into today. And one of those is our good old boy, Mitch Trubisky. And Mitch,
man.
obviously, in my opinion, and I think everyone in the world's opinion, his career in Chicago's done, especially as a starter. But does Mitch Trubisky get another starting job?
Oh man, I think because of his age, he does. Now,
Okay.
now don't get me wrong. If he's on another team next year, he may not be the starter. But I think eventually someone gives him the ball again, just based on his age. Again, with new coaches, a new perspective. They want to see maybe the old adage, change of scenery will do you good. Someone's going to buy into that with him, with a new staff. I don't think he's starting next year for anybody, including the Bears. But whoever that next team is, maybe he sits for a year or two, and then they say, all right, you watched, you were in the quarterback room, you haven't played, you're taking notes, you watch film, we coached you up. Let's see if you've learned anything from your failed experiences to take and improve upon. So, yeah, he'll start somewhere. But I think the time in the Bears quarterback room is running out and on thin ice. And that's a fan base. Once they turn on you, it's hard to get them back. So I think he's going to need to go elsewhere. He'll get either traded for or signed somewhere else. Maybe he doesn't start for a year or two. He just sits behind someone else, and then the keys get handed to him and say, all right, let's give this a second chance.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where that goes. But I don't know.
Definitely. Yeah, well, I'm glad to see all this happen because I've been saying since day one that he was not a starting quarterback. Chicago could only hide this shit for so long. I mean, it was blatantly obvious to me that he was nowhere near a starting quarterback. Yet, here, Chicago would do everything they could to hide him in every way, shape, or form. And it just got to the point where you can't do it anymore. And I don't see him in he's got an offensive coordinator and a head coach that are quite inventive. And it's not, I mean, it's complicated, but he is smart. I'll give him that. He's a smart kid. He should be able to grasp the system. I just don't think he has the talent. And I think, like you, I think he does snag a starting job, but I don't think he holds on to it. And I think he gets benched very quickly after that.
Well, Chicago reached for him. They admitted that really themselves. I mean, they fell in love with the height, the arm, some of the, the measurables. But, I've always said that you don't play football in shorts at the combine. You get on the field and there's 11 guys that are trying to prevent you from being successful. And one of the things he struggles with, Drew, is his progressions, is reading the progressions and hitting open receiver. And I got to be honest with you. They got it back now in David Montgomery. They've got receivers in Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller and I know I'm for Gabriel. Taylor Gay. So they got some talent. It's not really for lack of talent. And Tariq Cohen as well. He's not progressed like the guy they drafted. They thought he was going to. He's going to need a change of scenery, and I don't know if that's even going to be the answer. But it's definitely not going to happen in Chicago if it hasn't at this point.
No. It's not happening in Chicago, and it shouldn't happen in Chicago. But anyway, so we'll move on now. A couple other things here, and I know this is one that you brought up, and I'm guessing you have some feelings on it. But the New York Jets, they lose to the Dolphins today. Now, obviously, I give it a little bit of slack because, it is a divisional game and Miami's got to win something. And Darnold's been quote unquote sick, yada, yada, yada. I mean, I get it. I'll give you the excuses for losing that game to Miami. It's understandable. But Darnold struggled, at least in my eyes, yet again. And you brought up a great question. Is Darnold in the right place to develop into the quarterback that he can be, or does Darnold need to leave New York to truly succeed as a quarterback? What do you think?
Man,
and guys, let us know what you think. The numbers to call in on the show too. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, and I'm reading. I'm going to answer that question, and I'm reading. Mark Isaac typed in, "Is the problem Darnold, Gase, or both?" Probably a little both. Probably a little of both.
Darnold,
go
no,
ahead.
You go first. You go first, and then I got you.
With Darnold, it's a lot of it's mechanics. When he throws picks, he's thrown off his back foot. I didn't watch the whole game. I don't want to talk as if I watched the whole game. I watched some of that game today as well. He just looks out of rhythm, out of sorts. Now let's be real. The Jets receiving cores are not in the top tier of the league. You know, I know.
No.
You know, Robbie Anderson's not terrible. Crowder's not terrible, but they don't really, to me, have a number one at this point. But I don't think that's honestly the reason he's struggling. I think it's mechanics. He's thrown off the back foot. Today's game really was eye-opening to me. I looked at this game as like the Jets kind of coming out, fattening up their stat sheet and winning, going away. Especially with their defense isn't playing that good now.
Yeah.
So, I think Darnold has potential. I'll put him in the same boat as Baker. I think these two guys could be viable again. I know they're not right now. It's funny because they both were last year, had good years last year. They're both now struggling this year. You can call it sophomore slump or what have you. I still think they both can be potentially good.
Yes, they can be.
They're young, but they both, I think Darnold, playing in New York City. I'm a New York City guy. I'm from Brooklyn, New York, for those that don't know. So I know a little bit about the hot lights in the big city. It's tough. And not just football, but any athletic player that plays in the Big Apple. There's a lot more pressure. There's a lot more media. The media is kind of a different animal in New York than they are in a lot of other places. And I don't know if that's the best fit for Darnold. He's sort of a kind of a quiet kid. When the Jets picked him, me and my son had this debate. He really likes Darnold, and I didn't at the time. And, and I just said, I don't know if he's got the personality for New York. So he may be a guy that needs, this is why I asked this question, because he may be the guy that needs to go somewhere else where the lights aren't as hot and bright. The city's maybe not as big. And I think he can turn it around. And let's be real, the Adam Gase hire was definitely head scratching when they did it. It's looking even real bad, even worse now. He might not make it out through his first year, and if he does, he's probably not coming back for a second. So,
I'm going to answer that question a little bit now too. Darnold, Gase, or both. It's absolutely 110% both, but it goes beyond. It goes even beyond that to me. I think it goes down to the people beyond Gase that Gase has surrounded himself with. I don't think Gase is equipped to be a head coach beyond 1 year. I think he's not 1 year, but one term. He's going to get that one chance, and then he's going to go fit back into a great coordinator, there's nothing wrong with that. We talk about it all the time. But the people he's surrounding Darnold with to help him with those mechanics, the people in the organization, you're seeing it become a total and complete clusterfuck there. I think that is really the problem more than anything, because I think Darnold has all the tools in the world. I do think he can handle the bright lights in New York, especially if Daniel Jones pans out. and Saquon, and they start getting the attention, and Darnold and them can kind of still be that little baby brother and take over when Brady passes on down the line. But I think he could stay, but a regime change is needed. But I think overall he does need to leave. But it's definitely a combination of both. But I do not like who they've surrounded him with at all.
Yeah. Well, the Adam Gase hire, like, what did he do in Miami?
Nothing.
That warranted that warranted him becoming the Jets. And you're right. It's something I've said, and you just said it too. It's true. Some guys are just better coordinators than they are head coaches.
Ron Rivera. Sorry.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's at least winning games, you know.
Yeah, he is.
You know, I mean, Norv Turner's that guy. And there's a few others of the names that escape me. And I think Gase is going to be, when all the smoke clears, Gase is going to be a really good coordinator, but definitely not head coach material. And I just think, I don't know what the Jets were doing. And then you had the weird press conference. You know?
Yeah.
It was
all right.
strange.
So we got a question from Blake. How much truth is there to the OBJ statement about going to Cleveland to die? Now, are you referring to him saying that the Giants sent him there to die? If that's what you're referring to, then yeah, 100% that's what they did. They absolutely did. Once they decided to trade him, they got him out of the division, so they don't have to play him but once every 4 years or so. Apparently, they definitely weren't worried about them making the playoffs, which looks like they were right. But yeah, they did send him to Cleveland to die because they probably had no faith. If they're drafting Daniel Jones, then their scouts are going to say Baker's awful because they're about polar opposites. So I'm assuming they're not high on Baker. I'm assuming they're not high on what they're doing in Cleveland. And, they assume that they are Cleveland. They might have a couple good years, but then they're going to revert back to the Browns. And so I have no doubt in my mind that when they traded OBJ, they wanted to pretty much give him on the way out the door.
Yeah, I think when teams trade guys, I mean, their first choice is number one, trade him out of conference. So trade him to the other AFC to NFC, NFC to AFC. When that fails or you can't find a suitor, I think you go to plan B. And I think plan B is if you trade him in conference, you trade him to a bad team that you don't think he can come back and burn you or haunt you.
Right.
And then, but you know what? The last couple of years, you have seen teams trade in division even, and that always surprises me. But it's happened more lately, and I think all that just says, Drew, is that there are just not a lot of suitors for certain guys, and they just want to move them. Period. The Jets, the Patriots traded Demaryius Thomas to the Jets, and I think that was more of, we're not really afraid of the Jets here. You can have them. You're still not going to beat us with them anyway. So that sort of thing,
Yeah. Yeah, I think they just had absolutely no concern about sending him to Cleveland. I didn't think, the only thing that would suck for them, Odell can go and score, and be a serviceable guy, and I think they're fine with that. What they didn't want was for him to go score 22 touchdowns a year and have 1,500 yards receiving. Look at his stats this year. He ain't coming near it. So I think they're more than happy with where they sent him. But 100%, there was some bitterness behind that. They wanted to send him somewhere where they could stick it to him. And you know what? I don't really blame them. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, if a guy's kind of disrupting your locker room, throwing coaches or players under the bus,
get him out.
You don't want to reward that behavior and send him to a Super Bowl team.
No, absolutely not. I mean, not if you want to be taken seriously. I mean, it's up to you, but I mean,
yeah.
Anyway, so John, we got to go to stock up, stock down, unless we got in. While we doing stock up and stock down, guys, please send us your comments, call in. We'll stop, take a break, talk about anything you want. Remember, the question of the day today is, who are the true Super Bowl contenders after 9 weeks? And once again, we also do have a giveaway. If you're just joining us, a couple of them. We'll get to that here in just a little bit when we end. But John, stock up, stock down. Let's maybe cut it a little shorter than normal this week for those guys. But who you got for your stock up?
All right, I'll go. I got 3 guys. I'll go through them, like you said, at a quicker pace.
No, you're good.
Tyler Lockett today, 13 catches,
nice.
152 yards, 2 touchdowns. Also on my fantasy team, so I like that. But it looks like Seattle's got their number 1 guy in Tyler Lockett. Metcalf is going to be their red zone big guy in that regard. But I think Lockett's their guy that could get vertical and get chunk yards. And, that's Wilson's big numbers. He's a big part of that. I picked another guy, Drew, that played on Thursday, but he had such a game, I had to pick him. Kenyon Drake just gets traded to the Cardinals. 15 carries only, but he goes for 110, a TD, and to add to the 110 yards rushing, 4 catches for 52 yards, kind of all-purpose, doing his McCaffrey impression at least for 1 week.
There you go.
And you got a young quarterback, and if they can finally get a running back who can stay healthy and be productive, that's going to make Kyler Murray even more dangerous than he can be. And so that they're starting something there, at least on the offensive side. And my third guy is the numbers don't jump out at you. And I know the team's not very good, even though they won their first game today. And this guy went undrafted. But I think I think this guy is going to be a mainstay in the rebuild, quite frankly. And it's Preston Williams in Miami. 5 catches for 72 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's 6'5", undrafted out of Colorado State. I got to see him against the Steelers last week, and I'm very impressed. Got really good hands, tall target. Saw him jump over some Steeler corners that are pretty good and come down with the ball. And he's getting he's working his way into that system. Good route runner, and he's gonna be one of them undrafted guys that I won't go Pro Bowl yet, but you never know. You never know. And he's playing real well, and I think they like him there. And I think they're gonna keep him and add to it, and so I like him. Those are my three guys for this week.
Well, Well, there we go. We're back now. A little technical difficulty. I agree with all those picks. I think those are great. All of them, obviously, like you said, had very, very, very big weeks. But I'm going to go on with my stock up guys now. And, not too many surprises on this list. Well, maybe, but my biggest surprise, I've got 2 of them this week. The first one, he just got traded, had a great game today, and I think he's finally found the team that he's going to fit in on, and that's Emmanuel Sanders for San Francisco. He played great today, 7 catches, 112 yards, 16 yards a catch, and a touchdown. Made some big-time plays when they mattered most. I think he could be one of those missing pieces in San Francisco. I don't think they're a Super Bowl team necessarily yet, but I really like what he does with them, and he could be that Amari Cooper to Dallas type trade from a couple of years ago. So I really, really like him as one of my stock up guys this week. And my other guy, I struggled with it for a while because I think his stock's so high already. But I think it needs to go even higher because I think he's turning into one of the just best all-around running backs in the league, and not just as a rookie. But that's Josh Jacobs. This kid can do everything. I mean, today, stat line, 28 carries, 120 yards. That's 4.3 yards a carry, 2 touchdowns. Then he's also doing things. He's also catching the ball out of the backfield. He's a 3-down kid. I know he's a rookie. I know he's starting to get a lot of hype, but to me, it's not near enough. I think he's almost a shoo-in for Rookie of the Year if he just keeps up what he's doing. And games like this are just going to make his stock soar in my eyes.
Yeah, I like him. He made my list last week, and it's funny when I went with Kenyon Drake this week, it was really him and Josh Jacobs right together.
Right.
And because I picked Josh last week, I gave Kenyon the nod this week. But he's proven me wrong, Drew. He was a guy I kind of on my preview show said he would be good and not great, and right now he's being great. So he's proven. Maybe he heard me. I don't know. I would take some of the credit for that.
Maybe he didn't. Hey, I would. I'd take all the credit. Fuck that. Dude. Take it all. Take it all. Just like I told that dude last week, and he's like, my team won. Yeah, brag, dude. Brag the hell out of it. But anyway, so those are our stock up, guys. If you're in the hobby, especially, I'm going to talk hobby for just a moment. Jump all over Josh Jacobs. You see where Saquon's at right now. I'm not saying he's Saquon. I'm not saying he's CMC, but he's in the other division than the two of them, and he could be the running back of the AFC. Yeah. I could see him doing big things. Jump all over him. But anyway, let's go on over now to our stock down, Mr. Newman, and who you got.
Big name. Actually, a few big names on this list this week.
Okay.
Let's start with probably the biggest name on this list, Aaron Rodgers today.
Oh, yeah.
161 yards passing, threw a touchdown kind of late. They kind of just got a garbage touchdown.
Yeah, garbage
at the end. And, everyone was, Green Bay's played very well this year up until today. A lot of people saying they could make a run at another Lombardi, but not with performances like today.
No,
I know they were on the road per se, but that
no
was,
excuse. No excuse.
Well, like I said, there was 75% Green Bay fans in that Los Angeles crowd.
Yeah, so it's a home game.
Yeah,
there's no excuse for that whatsoever.
And I know even superstars have bad games. I get it. It happens. But when it happens, you make the stock down list. So he makes
exactly. So he makes the stock down list. Yeah.
Yep. And another guy, he's kind of been middle. He had a big rookie year, and then since then he's kind of slowly deteriorated. Leonard Fournette from Jacksonville, 11 carries, 40 yards. He's supposed to be your workhorse, number one guy. The run establishes the pass, and he's not getting it done. And he's not looking like the potential, that he was supposed to be. And so it looks like Jacksonville is going to be in the market for a few things, and running back may be one of them, as I don't think he's the answer to that question. And another guy, the third guy I got in a game where I thought Minnesota would beat Kansas City. And I think we both would say there was a game where we thought it would be kind of a shootout, one of those 35-30. Yeah. And it was.
Yes, it was. It
was. And if you would have told me Stephon Diggs would have one catch for 4 yards,
dude,
I would have said, what happened in the first quarter? What was the injury? And there was no injury. He played the full game, one catch for 4 yards. So, what do you want to say? Adam Thielen is your one, or Stephon Diggs is your one? And Thielen is hurt. He went out hurt. And I understand your quarterback's got to throw it to you, and and all that. But when you're a superstar number one receiver. And you get one catch for 4 yards in a shootout type game where it's a track meet and you're a fast wide receiver. When I saw that line, I said, I thought he got hurt, Drew. And then when I found out
you knew
it,
so did I. You knew he was on my DFS team.
Yeah.
I mean, I posted the picks today. I'm sitting here all game. I'm playing with Jude and watching the Panther game. I'm like, what the fuck is he not? What is going on? Did he get hurt? No, he's just sitting on his ass. That's why he made my stock down list also.
Yeah, that's you can't
you can't disappear like that. You can't.
Yeah. Yep. No. And then if you look at Cousins' line, he didn't have a terrible game. So
that's why.
like,
That's why it's
what are you
him
doing?
disappearing. It's him disappearing. That's why it's perfect that he made your stock down.
So
list.
there's my 3 guys.
All right. Well, like I said, I absolutely agree with all of them. And I got 2 guys this week. One of them, like I said, is Diggs. Just absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what was going on with him at all. But my second guy here this week kind of goes to, actually, I have 3 on the stock down. My second guy this week goes on the same team as your first, but it's not Aaron Rodgers. It's Aaron Jones. Talk about somebody disappearing. The dude has had some, I mean, he was reeling off 100-yard games, playing great out of the backfield. He was getting to the point where when he was catching the ball, he was not getting touched. He looked like he was putting his name in the running for, leading the league in some rushing categories. Then he comes out here and then just does this abysmal mess today. So Aaron Jones definitely gets the stock down for me. And then my third guy, I hate, I really, really, really hate to do it because he's my boy, but Gardner Minshew. I mean, I know he's playing a Houston team that's good, but they lost J.J. Watt. You know me, I've been on the Houston bandwagon, so I mean, I'm all for Houston winning these games, but I just thought he was going to come out and compete a lot harder. The team as a whole, and like you mentioned with Fournette's doing nothing, so he's not helping him at all. But Minshew in the past has been able to make up for that, and I was very disappointed at how bad they played as a whole today. I hope this doesn't come into that start Foles or start Minshew thing, because Jacksonville needs to commit to one of the two, leave them in, let them grow, build a team around him and go. And I think Minshew's the guy. But for this week, you play poorly, like you said, you end up on this list.
Yeah. I'll stick up for Minshew real quick, just in saying his running game didn't help him today. And let's be real. The receivers there are not top tier. Keelan Cole, D.D. Westbrook, Marquise Lee.
Outside of Chark, he's got nobody.
Yeah, DJ Chark. Yeah. He didn't play. I don't think he played well, but he still he wound up with almost 300 yards passing, but they only put 3 points on the board, so you didn't get it done. Like we both said, you don't get it done. You run the risk of showing up on our list. So here he is. I think the blame could be spread around, but the quarterback, it's like they say in football, that sometimes they get too much credit and then sometimes they get too much blame. So we're going to blame them and put them on the list, this week. And, maybe some jet lag from going to London. I don't know, but they only put up 3 points. And like you said, Houston was missing J.J. Watt, and you can't even get the ball in the end zone. So, I can't argue him off the list. I could just argue that there's probably enough. We could probably put let's put the whole Jacksonville team on the stock down list this week.
There you go. I mean, hell, I did that one week, so I mean, Blake, I completely agree. DJ Chark DJ Chark
It makes you wonder if they play that in Jacksonville.
They should. If they don't, it's a terrible missed marketing opportunity. But guys, before we wrap everything up, once again, we are doing a giveaway this week. So especially all of you guys in the longest yard, thanks so much for finally joining us. We can't wait to come to your guys' room as well every Thursday for the picks and preview show. And then obviously this is our debut episode on y'all's group this week, so we're very happy to be on there. But we do have our giveaways this week, so one more time, John, let's go through them real quick.
All right.
First place,
you got the Curse Martin 8x10. I got this in person from a show that I actually set up at, and I'm a New York City guy, but I'm a huge Steeler guy, and he went to University of Pittsburgh. I've always kind of had a fondness for Curtis Martin. I was hoping he would be a Steeler. Didn't work out that way, but still like him. Don't like the uniform he's got on in this picture, by the way, but not my call there. So he signed for me. I'll give my own COA with it. Definitely had him sign it. This is dirt. I've had a few of these for a while. I got a couple more. One I'm definitely keeping for myself. But Hall of Famer, no doubt, and so I got these.
Yeah.
I've had these a while because the show whenever it was on the Patriots, whatever years those were, that's how old these photos are. So.
Awesome. So that, like he said, is Curtis Martin, Hall of Fame, 8x10. Absolutely awesome. Then second place person, you get your choice from either one of the Let Me Get That Potograph Stu custom cards, which are out of 58, which are some beautiful, beautiful, awesome custom cards drawn by an amazing artist named Ken Carl. And then, or you can choose between a Ryan Matthews 8x10, a Stefan Ridley 8x10, T Rich 8x10. I think he'll tear up the XFL here soon. And Taj Boyd 8x10. So second place will do that. And John, once again, tell him how to enter.
First up.
Well, literally as soon as I say that, John apparently bounces out. So we are going to, there he is. He's back. He is back, Mr. Newman. So he's going to tell you how to enter here in just a moment. Guys in the longest yard, once again, thanks. But we are going to have 2 winners for this contest. John is eventually going to get back. But how you're going to enter is obviously like the page Roughing the Passer. Make sure you like the page or like the Hobby Roundup YouTube channel, which you can find over on the Roughing the Passer page and everything. And then simply share this episode. Retweet this episode, post this episode somewhere on social media, tagging myself, John, anyone, promote this episode. And other than that, that is all you need. But yeah, so that is that's all so that's all you need for the giveaway. We will give it about, let's say, 24 hours from as soon as this episode ends here in just a few minutes. We'll give it about 24 hours before we get everything in. And there he is. He is back. Hey there. Maybe
you hear me?
Back. Yeah, we hear you, bud.
Yeah, I think Bill Belichick is messing with the feed.
Yep, Bill Belichick messed with the feed. Well, I explained to everybody what was going on, so it's all good. Shit happens. We stay on here for so long, and they get ready to tell us, hey, now. I'm sure I offended Zuckerberg and about 10 other people today. I tend to offend people daily. But thank you guys so much for calling in. Thank you guys so much for watching. And please, you guys saw how easy it was for Blake and Hal's to call in. It's so easy. If you guys want to come on, seriously, if your team kicks ass and wins by 30, 50, you just want to call in and just say, hey, my team is the shit. There he goes. He disappeared on me again. What the hell? Well, no matter what, guys, whatever you want to do, call in, talk to us, hang out. This show, it's all about you guys. We want to do it. We want to do everything with you guys. So, Mark, I couldn't agree more. Actually, Mark, PM me as soon as this is over. And what's his skill, Blake, or whatever. And Blake, if you want one of those cards, hit me up. But Mark, also DM me right now if you don't mind. But yeah, I miss him. going to those shows as well. It was amazing. But guys, once again, thanks so much for joining me. Make sure to check out John's Sports Card Nation podcast. He had Rich Klein on this week. New episode of Let Me Get That Potograph drops tomorrow. It'll be late night because I got Jude's basketball practice and a bunch of other crap for him during the day. But till then, guys, we will see you Thursday. Remember, we'll leave the giveaway up for about 24, 48 hours, but a chance to get some really cool stuff. Awesome Week 10 lineups here. You got Chargers, Raiders, Falcons, Saints. Maybe Dan Quinn gets fired. Rams, Steelers, Vikings, Cowboys could be fun. Panthers, Packers, a great game. Lions and Bears, oh my. Chiefs, Titans, decent week of football next week. Seahawks, 49ers heading up the Monday night game. So lots of fun. But guys, once again, thank you so much for joining us. And can't wait to talk to you guys next week. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Peace.